In today's video, I'm testing out double hand crossbow rogue to see if it's actually as good as I've heard. Let's hop into it. Kicking things off with the first clip from the intro, and in this game I was running a subpar little 0 to hero kit minus the dagger and hand crossbows, but the rogue I was fighting on the other hand was someone I got to inspect in the pregame lobby and knew he had a bunch of True Fizz gear that I would happily take as an upgrade. At this point I knew that I had somewhat of an advantage because I hit my ruptured hand crossbow shot and he actually missed his and only hit me with a regular shot. Following that, I quickly opened the door to try and bait out his hide before wrapping around to the other side. I also knew he was playing with a rapier, so if at all possible, I wanted to try and take the fight inside of a doorway so he would be hitting the door frame. And while I didn't expect him to actually be camping this door, it ended up working out perfectly with his ambush hit getting wasted on the frame. Additionally, since I had a dagger, I made sure to get extremely close to him so he was hitting me with the sour spot of the rapier, ultimately doing very little damage, whereas the dagger does not have a sour spot. I feel like this next clip needs a little bit of context and might be a little bit too much information, but I thought it was pretty funny, and essentially it was the same game, but I randomly got the sudden urge to take a massive dump and was trying to find a safe spot to hide while I went and took care of business. Oh my god, I almost just shit my pants, literally. I have to poop so bad. Oh, that guy just got wrecked. Oh, God bless, the gate opened. Okay, I need to fucking loot this guy and then get the fuck out of here. In that fight though, things went pretty much perfectly. I was able to land the double crossbow shot as he ran in, and then same thing as before, I just made sure to effectively give him a hug while we fought to make sure he was hitting me with the sour spot of his weapon. Whew. Holy shit. There's actually like a few people in the lobby. Let's go. Damn, those are some nice gloves. The hell. As you can probably tell from the last clip, I was pretty happy to see more than 2 to 3 players in my lobby, because as of the last week or so, the dungeons have been pretty barren, which has been making it relatively difficult to create content. Anyways though, I ended up running into the rogue that I was inspecting in the pregame that was quite a bit more geared than me, and we ended up having an extremely close fight. No way. No way! He lived with literally 1 HP, bro. What? Up next, and for the remainder of the video, I'm going to be showing a full Ice Caves game, minus some of the boring parts obviously, where I played with a pretty low budget kit and happily got to PvP with 3 different players, plus hit the full gold pile. This bard I inspected in the pregame lobby was pretty juiced and ended up making an appearance later in the video as well. Hopping into the match, and I spawned into Dog Room, so I decided this would be a good game to try out a little ambush strat in the gold pile room that someone used on me a few days ago. So after thinking about it for a second, I started making my way towards the middle. And if this ain't the most koboldy type shit to do, then I don't know what is. Somehow these little rats always find a way to sneak up behind me and get a free hit in without me noticing. And to go ahead and elaborate a little bit on the ambush strat before you see it in action, it essentially just involves you opening one of the high traffic doors to the gold pile room, so either the one I use, which is where I died to this strat a few days back, the one that's directly east of it, or either of the two doors in the northwest corner of the room. Then you just clear out the nearest mobs before camping on the side of the door for a little while, waiting for players to come in. Not only does this strat work out perfectly in this game, as you'll see, but I think it's pretty good in general because it's pretty common to be contested at the gold pile, and with a little bit of patience, this just allows you to actually have the upper hand when dealing with other players that would have just ended up contesting you while you're hitting the gold pile anyways. As you can see, even though that guy was creeping, there really wasn't much he could do once he walked through the door, and the only way I can really imagine this strategy backfiring on you is if somebody who is way more geared than you, or if a class that is a really bad matchup for you walks in, such as a barbarian stumbling through the door while you're playing rogue, then you're probably going to have to pull something out of your ass for that one. All in all, we end up getting a couple of pretty nice upgrades from that guy, and surely this strat won't work twice in the same game. Surely. In this instance, you can see that even if the player is able to squeeze by you, they'll just end up running into a horde of different mobs, which ends up making it pretty hard for them to open up a door and escape. After dealing with those mobs, it was time to go loot the Warlock, and I almost left this door closed, but then it occurred to me that at the very least, the geared bard was probably still running around somewhere, so I decided to open it back up, and it actually almost came in clutch. At first, I was going to just give up the Warlock loot to the Bard and just dip out because I didn't really like my odds against him, but I don't know, something about the way he was moving or the way he looked made me decide to stick around and see what he planned to do. After getting worked that hard and getting hit with 4 crossbow shots in a row, 2 of which were ruptured, I'm not surprised he started to run away. But I wanted to make sure he wasn't going to just grab the health shrine and come recontest me, so I chased him a little bit. Unfortunately, Iron Mace has yet to fix the shadows bug, and I hadn't swapped my settings around and restarted my game to fix it, so I couldn't really see him that well across the room. On top of that, I wasn't a huge fan of the idea of just running into a survival bow on a little narrow piece of ground that didn't give me much room to juke. So I decided to go back and loot the Warlock. Ultimately, after that, we played a little bit more footsie around the door before he eventually ended up deciding he really didn't want to take the fight and took the nearest static extract. After I dealt with the bard though, I ended up having the gold pile to myself, so I went ahead and collected all the loot and made my escape. I'm going to leave the rest of the footage in so you guys can see a nifty little safe spot I use for the Wendigo sometimes, and I'll also cut through the gold pile so y'all can see the haul. Finally, after extracting, I was pretty shocked to see that there were still multiple players left in the lobby, and something kind of goofy ends up happening while I'm spectating. I'll also go ahead and take this moment of downtime to mention that I've actually been enjoying Rogue quite a bit these last couple of days, and intend to definitely start adding in some Rogue related content here and there whenever I can. However, I touched on it briefly earlier in the video, but as of Monday afternoon, there are a whopping 2,200 players in the dungeon, with 1,900 in the lobby, but who knows how many of those 1,900 are just bots or even intend to queue up a match. And this was pretty much the exact same during the weekend. All that to say, it's getting more and more difficult as players begin to stop logging in to actually get footage to create content with. This isn't supposed to come off as a sob story by any means though, but more so just an advance notice to the fact that there may be a little bit of a drought of videos up until the wipe, because I'm actually using this time to create an entire series where I intend to put out roughly 1 to 2 videos every day right around the start of the wipe. I'm also really gambling that this wipe will coincide with either a Steam release or Epic Games release, so keep your fingers crossed everyone. Other than that though, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. And last but not least, take it easy, chefs.
Your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away.